Welcome back to Adventures with Dice. I'm Rob and I'm your host for these videos. And as I said in my last video, here I am. We're going to take a deep dive into the Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play starter set and see if it's something that you want to add to your collection. I've been very pleased with this, and just a moment, I'm having my morning coffee while we do this. But I've been very pleased with this. This starter set is retails for $29.99. I don't think it's currently available on Amazon at the time of this recording, but this copy did come from Amazon. So, first of all, beautiful box, beautiful cover art. I really like it. The back of the box tells you what's in it, but we're going to go over all that. So keep in mind, for 30 bucks, you can try out the Warhammer Fantasy World, basically. If you don't want to go all in with the main rulebook and you just want to get something that you can pull out quickly and try with your players and see if they like it before going further in, this is a great box set for that. But as we're going to see, there is plenty in here that is going to be very useful to you. Even after if you decide to stay with Warhammer and you go on past this box set, there's stuff in here that is going to be very useful for a Warhammer campaign. So let's look at the box. Let's see what's in it. Take your first steps into a grim world of perilous adventure. So the first thing we have is the inside of the box. This is very, very nice. Cubicle 7 does this with some of their games. I think they do this with I think the Wrath and Glory, the 40K one, is like this as well. But you have kind of a mini GM screen to go along with the stuff in the starter box. And that's kind of nice. I do have the GM screen coming. I think it's going to be here today, the official one. And I'll do a video on it too, and we'll take a look at it. But if you're just getting started, this kind of hits the highlights of things that you're going to use during the adventure. And that can be very useful to you. So what else comes in here? Well, first thing we get is some really cool dice. These look like Q Workshop. I'm not sure if it's them or not. I don't know. Maybe. At first I thought they were a little hard to read, but then playing around with them, they really weren't. I'll have those on the table for my players. I will be using my Dyadic D20s, which I got from Tower House Creations, and they sent me a card with it. And these are like old school. They're D20s that are numbered 1 to 10 twice. And you can use them in a variety of ways. You can use them as D20s, you can use them as D2s, D10s, but you can also use them as D100s, where your black die is the tens place, and your red die is the ones place. And I'm always looking for a chance to use these in a game. I don't get to use them in D&D that much. And a lot of the tables that you roll on in Dragonbane are D20. So, I mean, I could use them for that, but I have plenty of D20s. And they're just a nice oddity. These don't come in the box set. I just wanted to mention them because I really like them, and I'll be using them in my game. So obviously I've already opened this and I've been through it a lot, but you get these, we'll get the glare off of it. You get these really cool tokens. These are for marking your advantage, how much advantage you have. And I'm not going to go all into how all of that works, but there are certain actions you can take during the game that give you advantage. And every time you get a point of advantage, I think it goes up by, it gives you a plus 10% bonus to your roll. But you have some for the GM, and you have colored ones that are color-coded for, I think it's 6 for each player. So those are nice little thing to have. I'm just going to go ahead and take everything out of here, and then we'll go back through it. So this is the inside of the box, the bottom part, and it is an overview. Nope, that's not it. This is it. I pulled out the wrong thing. All right, let's try that again. So This is a much larger worldview with the Gray Mountains, Altdorf, Karak Azraz. All these different places are listed on here. This would have been kind of nice to have as a big poster map, but if you're playing most of your adventures in the Reichland and Ubersreik, then you're not going to need a big poster map for this. So that's cool. So what else did it come with? Well, let me go through the maps first. It came with a player and GM, and I have that upside down. Way to go, Rob. It came with a player and a GM version of maps, again, upside down. This is the Duchy of Ubersreik. And then we have another one here. And this one kind of lists off all of the places that are marked on the map so that you know where things are at in the different areas. You have your guide to Ubersreik. You have the walls with the north, east, west, and south gates, or Watergate, not Westgate. I got old eyes and that's really small, but it has the quarters broken up and it tells you what's in each quarter. Black Rock, Merchant Quarter, everything, all these different places are marked on the map so you know where they're at. And then I think I showed the other side of this. This is the Duchy of Ubersreik, and gives you a little better understanding of where everything is in the old world. Okay, so what else do we have? We have some character sheets that I printed out. Those are blank. So it also comes with 3 handout cards, handouts 1 to 3 and handouts 4 to 6. And these relate to the adventure that's in here. They're not double-sided, so you could cut them, or you could just, I would just, copy them, photocopy them and cut them out and give them to your players. And then handout 7 is the going shopping. And this one is pretty handy because the shopping section in the main rule book is very robust. There's a lot of information, a lot of just everything you can imagine is in there. But if you wanted something smaller and condensed and faster, you could hand this out to your players, let them look it over, and this just gives them the bare bones of some things they might want to go around and buy. Like a chicken. You might want to buy a chicken. You might want to buy a pint of ale. You might want to buy a sword. A deck of cards. All this is on here. Now, this is useful. It is part of the adventure that comes in it, but it's also useful if they happen into a small village, or they happen into some town or something, and they're away from the main area that you're playing. If you're playing in a big city, you can use this as a quick reference. Here, this is a small village. They don't have a lot to offer, so just go by this. So that's going to be helpful again outside of the adventure that's in here. And I will say that, hold on, coffee mouth this morning. But I will say that one of the bigger complaints that I've heard about, at least 4th edition, and keep in mind I haven't played the other editions, so all I know is 4th edition. But one of the bigger complaints that I've heard is how the monetary system works. It is confusing. It's confusing when you first look at it. There are things about it that you kind of have to really read it a few times to get the gist of it. At least I did. It's not like in a lot of your OSR D&D style games where it's, 10 copper make a silver, 10 silver make a gold, so on and so forth. It's kind of like that, but it breaks it down a lot more. You have gold crowns, silver shillings, and brass pennies. And 1 gold coin is equal to 20 silver shillings. And 1 silver shilling is equal to 12 brass pennies. And the way that it's written on the sheet, you have a normal price, a haggle price, but when you look at it, it looks like it's written as fractions, but that's not. That's part of the code in the way they write it. And I can do a video simply on the monetary system. If y'all would like to see that, just put it in the comments below and I'll try to take care of that. Because once you understand it, I can kind of do it on a whiteboard and draw it out and explain it to you. Once you understand how it works, it's actually very, very simple, but it looks confusing. It's not very intuitive. So if that's something you'd like to see, let me know. If not, then I won't worry about it because I figured it out and I've got it down for my players. Now, when you open this up initially, the first thing you see is the prepare to enter a grim world of perilous adventure. Read this first. And all it does is it's like the one for the Wrath and Glory box set, which I'm probably going to reshoot that video and try to do a better job with it now that I have this fantastic arm thanks to a camera arm thanks to a viewer. Not arm, I already had an arm, but now I have one for my camera, so that's pretty cool. And once you kind of look at that to realize what stuff is, you'll probably never use it again, but I just keep it in the box. So we have, and some of these names I'm going to butcher, we have 6 pre-gen characters. And what's nice about these pre-gen characters is they have the name of the character and what they are on the back, and a really cool piece of artwork in most instances. On the front, you have some quotes from the character, a background on who the character is, what the character is like, and options as to why you might want to play that character. Then you open it up, and this is your main character sheet that you're going to see all the time. And if you've never played Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play, don't worry if this looks intimidating. It's actually really easy. It just doesn't look like an OSR D&D sheet. But one of the cool things they have is in these little fold-outs, you have the character sheet explanation, and it kind of goes over all the stuff here and tells you what it does. And then you have background details where you get to pick some stuff: motivation, group ties, secrets, and then roll for your initial wealth to start out the character. So those are really cool. We have Gunnar, I'm just going to say Hoffelson, but that's Dwarf Slayer. We got Morella Brandy Snap next, which is our Halfling Thief. And again, all of these unfold and have that information in them to help you run the character. We have Ferdinand Gruber, which is a human wizard. And again, that's the inside of it. We have Aramis Eberfell, a high elf merchant. Looks like a high elf, snooty elves. And we have Salandra von Drakenberg, which is a human soldier. So you get a good mix of male and female in here. And Elise Sigil, whatever. Cool chick with guns, human witch hunter. So you have 6 really cool characters. You've got advantage tokens to use with them. And then these are really nice. You get 3 more. These are all, just like the handouts, these are all hard card. But you get a kind of a breakdown of the rules, a quick reference for the rules, so that you don't have to dig through the rule book quite as much. But the first one is a reference on test, how to do simple tests, difficulties, outcomes, dramatic tests. And then the back side of it has explanations of attributes and skills. So I'll put that back in there. We got combat reference sheet, talks about initiative, turns and rounds, moves and actions, fighting, advantage. That's where those tokens come in. Wounds, critical wounds, and we have a critical wound table here. And Warhammer is known for its nasty critical wounds. You can win a fight and still walk away with a broke arm or missing fingers or a missing eye. Then we have our conditions reference sheet, which lists our different conditions and how they affect your character. And then the back of this one is an introduction to Ubersreik and the Empire. And it's basically, this is really good if you have players who are only vaguely familiar with what the grimdark world of the old world is like. You can hand them this, let them read it. It's not going to give them an in-depth explanation of the complete history. I mean, this game's like 40 years old. It's too big to do that on one sheet, obviously. but it gives them a basic breakdown that they can understand kind of what kind of game they're getting into. So I'm saving one for last, but we're going to go ahead and look at the adventure book. Now, the adventure that is in here, I'm not going to give stuff away and spoil stuff, but it is chock full of some fantastic things, and here's why. A lot of starter sets will come with a condensed version of the rule book, or like in Dragon Main's version, it came with a full rule book. But they'll come with some type of rule book, and then usually an adventure that is separate. The way Cubicle 7 does it with this game and Wrath and Glory is you have an adventure book that has a good starter adventure in it, and as you're playing through the starter adventure, your players, you can explain how percentile dice rolls work to them, but you really don't have to do much more than that, because you just let them pick a character and start playing the game. And as they're playing the game, this is the style of adventure that teaches you the rules as you go through it. So by the time they get to the end of it, they have a fairly good understanding of how the rules work to the game. And it's a really good adventure. I've read through it. I like it. I'm going to run it for my players. But one of the things I really like is in the back, it has, let's see, congratulations. Let me get past that. It has a little section called Adventures in Ubersreik. And we basically have some adventure seeds for like little one-shot type games. And these are just really cool. They come with more NPCs or monsters, and each one's different, has a different feel to it. And there's also a free download that's more Adventures in Ubersreik, I think is what it's called, because I downloaded it and it's in my folder. But these are just like adventure seeds / one-shots that you can throw in there and continue playing. So not only do you get a fairly chunky, good-sized adventure here, but you get a whole bunch of adventure seeds to play outside of that. So you could just keep playing with these same characters until everybody is very comfortable with the rules, which is what I intend to do. I don't know if I'll play through all the adventure seeds that are back here, but there's a couple of them that are really neat that I want to do. And like somebody in the comment on my previous video had mentioned, you can download off of DriveThruRPG the adventure Night of Blood, and it's free. And Night of Blood is, from my understanding, it's an old adventure from the 80s. It's been updated to 4th edition, and it's really cool. There's a couple of them they have on there that you can download. I think that one of them is called If Looks Could Kill. They have a bunch of adventures, but that's a couple of free ones they have on there. And I've downloaded both of those, and Night of Blood is probably what I will run after this. But you have just a lot of really cool NPCs that are already statted out in here. You have the big beefy adventure, and then you have all of the little one-shot adventure hooks in here. So there's a lot to get out of this. Now, because this isn't set up like a lot of starter sets where they give you a rule book and an adventure book, you will find yourself flipping back and forth until you become comfortable with the rules, trying to find out where stuff's at, which on one hand is neat because it kind of propels you to go ahead and buy the big rule book so you have all the rules or the PDF of it. But it's still very, very usable, and I like the fact, honestly, that it has a adventure that teaches you step by step basically how to play as you're getting into it. So that's the adventure book. Now, the last thing we're going to look at, and this is the crown jewel of the box set, and that is the Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play Guide to Ubersreik. As far as I know, there's not a big setting book for Ubersreik. Like I know there's one for like the Sea of Claws and Lustria, and Wallona's Cave has done some videos on this stuff, and that's fantastic. If you haven't been over there and seen Moses' videos, go check them out. They're great. He's also done solo play, how to learn to play solo with Warhammer Fantasy. and those are great. My only complaint about his videos is, Moses, I need episode 2. You need to come on, man. So, no, he puts a lot of work into his videos, a lot more than I do. And his videos take a while to edit everything and get them up, but they are top notch. Like it's to me, it's like watching a really well done television show. If you get a chance, go check out Wallona's Cave, and Moses does just a fantastic job over there. But yeah, the Guide to Ubersreik, this is just a fantastic book. It gives you, like, Ubersreik is kind of your primary setting for the game. Now, obviously, if you wanted to, pick up the Altdorf book or Middenheim or whatever, or Midnight, is that what it's called? Anyway, any one of the other places, you could set a game there as well, but kind of the default setting is Ubersreik. And this book is great. It's got tons and tons of information on the city. I mean, it's devoted entirely to the city and its NPCs. And even in the back of it, I believe, you have a whole section on, like, the cults that are active in the city. It breaks things down, showing you where stuff's at on the map. It's just a fantastic book, and this is more than they had to do. They didn't have to put this in there. They could have just said, hey, here's a one-page snippet about Ubersreik, and then, go sell you another $30, $40 book on just this city. But they didn't. They put this in this box set, and this, to me, is definitely worth the price of admission alone. It's just a fantastic book. I really, really like it. It has stats for NPCs and stuff. I can quit hitting the camera. That'd be great. But it has stats for NPCs and stuff. But there's just so much lore in this, and the artwork is beautiful. I mean, just look at that. That's just great. But I don't know. I really appreciate the fact that they put this in there, because if you don't have a really good understanding of the Warhammer world, you might be kind of lost as far as where to start an adventure, where to start a game at. And this all centers around the adventure in here, the Guide to Ubersreik. All of this gives you a really good city and surrounding areas to start your game and play through it in. And I couldn't be happier with it. It's absolutely phenomenal. My only complaint with Cubo 7 is their shipping sucks. Like, I did not like buying stuff from them directly. And that's a whole nother video, and didn't really pertain to fantasy anyway. It was more what the kind of messed up situation I had with them and their Wrath and Glory starter set. But yeah, that's kind of a deep look at the Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play starter set. Like I said, it retails for $29.99. When it's on Amazon, I think you can get it a little cheaper. It's probably around the same price, not a lot cheaper. But I've had it for quite some time, and I know I mentioned it before, but Moses at Wallona's Cave, his videos really inspired me to dig deeper into this. I always liked the Warhammer Fantasy world. I just never had friends that were into it role-playing wise. I used to play the Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the miniature game, back before Age of Sigmar. And I remember I got into it, I think around the time the Battle for Skull Pass came out. And me and a buddy bought like 3 copies of that box set, which just had a ton of amazing miniatures in it. And it came with dwarves and night goblins. And we just swapped everything off. Like, he had a massive amount of night goblins, and I got a massive amount of dwarves. And we played that for, a long time. And I used to read the books, novels when I can get my hands on them. I really liked it, but I never really got to play in it. And I liked it enough that I've used it as inspiration in other games, but again, didn't really get to play the actual game until recently. I'm in a situation where I have people that want to play. I want to play, and I have access to it now. So this is definitely going to be hitting the table on our Tuesday night group. Looking very forward to it. I'll come back and do another video kind of deep diving on the rule book and all of the different careers and career paths and stuff that you can take in there with your characters. Because if you dislike OSR, because most of the OSR are like, yeah, you got 4 races, 4 classes, and that's it. You'll love this, because I think there's like 64 careers or something. I mean, there's a ton of careers to be in this game. But anyway, that is my deep dive on the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay starter set. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you hung around this long, please give me a thumbs up, and until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.